So I'm going to continue that interactive vein that we just started and ask how many of you have had, raise your hand if you had milk for breakfast or maybe cheese on your burrito at lunch. Come on, raise your hands. Or if you had cream cheese or something like that on a bagel today. Awesome. Then you guys are going to love this technology because it's going to keep dairy products on your plate. So we have 3 dairy farmers with us today. They're masquerading as judges, but they're dairy farmers. So this is your herd of dairy cows. And you're going to inseminate all of them at the same time or breed them all at the same time. And I want to know how many calves you expect to get out of these. Brad, how many calves do you expect? They're 10. 7 or 8 calves, okay. Mark, 8? Brad, 5. Well, I tell you, you two must be using Gamete Guard, and you are pretty close to what's average. Really, from 10 dairy cows, you're going to get about 4 calves. That's about it. Now, that's a big problem, and that's causing big economic losses to these dairy farmers on the order of $300 million annually. So that's a big loss, and it's a big problem. Now, if you add Gamete Guard to the sperm, and you breed those cows, you'd expect to get about 2 more calves. That's a significant improvement. And in fact, that's exactly what happened in a recent breeding trial here in Weld County. We bred calves and had a 30% improvement in pregnancy rates. And these are the first 4 Gamete Guard calves ever born in the world. And they were just born a couple weeks ago. So we're pretty excited about that. Now, as I said, we have a big problem. We see a solution to the problem. Let's talk a little bit more about the technology, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the economics behind it. Before I tell you about the technology, I need to define a bull stud. It's not a term that most people are familiar with. Bull studs are businesses that house bulls. They keep their own bulls, or they borrow people's bulls. They actually collect sperm from them on a daily basis, dilute it out, package it into straws, just like this. I'm going to guess you've probably never seen these straws, so I'm going to give you one. Package it into straws, contain about 15 million sperm in a single straw like that. Those are not filled, by the way. You can't use them. They put up about 45 million of those every year at these bull studs. So, Gamete Guard Extender is actually a plant, an organic, natural plant extract that's blended and then packaged and then sent off to these bull studs. The Gamete Guard then is added to their extender. So literally all they have to do is pour it together, so they don't have to buy any new equipment or change their processing line at all. They take that extender, add sperm, package it into the straws, and distribute it to the 65,000 dairy farms across the United States.
So that's really nice, and these calves are really cute. They're only 2 weeks old, but if you guys as professional dairy farmers know that little calves get attached real quickly to human beings. But more importantly, can you make any money doing all this stuff? Because I know we've got 2 money guys here for sure, and Mark, well, he thinks about money too a lot. So anyway, the answer to this is to look at all 3 parts of the value chain. And there are 3 parts. First of all, there's us, MPTI. We can, with our manufacturing, we think, clear about 50 cents a straw. We'll sell it, and this is the total market. We believe we will capture within the first 5 years about 40 to 50% of the market. I'm sorry, 50 to 60% of the market, getting 4 to 5 of these large bull studs right here. Okay? Now, that will provide about 13 to 14 million of earnings for us. So we believe it'll be a very strong and healthy company. The second one, second part of the value chain is the bull stud, our customer. Now, as we said here, there are 7 large bull studs, about 50-something small ones in the U.S. Okay? There are some others in other countries too. Now, the bull stud has 2 opportunities to make money. One is he'll charge the farmer something for the technology that he brings to the farmer, okay? Because the farmer is the bull stud's customer. So that's for one of the large bull studs, another 12, 15 million dollars annually, depending on his volume, of course. Likewise, there's a second opportunity for each bull stud. When you look at it, a bull stud every day discards about 10 to 20% of their finished product because it doesn't meet their quality control parameters. Now, we have done a lot of work in our lab work, and we know that we can help them. And if we can reduce their discard rate by 3 percentage points, we know that we will save them $3 million. And you guys know that if you save that in your operational cost, it goes right to that bottom line. So, big numbers. That's for each one, each bull stud. Likewise, the third part of the value chain is the farmer himself, and he will pay a little extra for the straw. We interviewed quite a few dairy farmers, and they're willing to pay extra knowing that they're going to have higher pregnancy rates, okay? Now, the thing about it is, if this farmer reduces the number of heat cycles, the number of times it takes for his cows to get pregnant from 3, let's say, to 2, he saves $120. Now, in a farm of 200 cows, like the dairy where we did the small breeding trial, it starts to amount to real money, okay? So, here's what we want to do. We want to go commercially as quickly as we possibly can. And there are two things that we have to do to go commercial. Both of them are large breeding trials. And what we have to do is show that statistically we will get a similar result as we got in the small breeding trial right here 10 miles or 12 miles away from right here, okay? So, we're really excited about that. And if we get to the point, and if you guys bless us with some money tonight, why, the thing that's going to happen is we will take that money and buy all the supplies for the first breeding trial. Now, one of the things I have not mentioned, I said before that I'm happy with that number. It's a nice number, 13, 14 million of earnings. We've not talked at all about the upside. There are several species here of mammals and birds that will add to this. We know that the technology works on horses. We've done it. We're pretty close to commercial on horses. I guess I should just hold that closer, shouldn't I? Sorry about that. So we know it works on horses. We also are pretty sure it's going to work on pigs. And we know that the hog market is as big as the dairy cattle market. We know it's going to work on turkeys because turkeys, about 95% of the turkeys in the United States are artificially inseminated, or a product of artificial insemination. That market is as big as the dairy cattle market. Now, it may also work on human beings. Now, we haven't done any work on human beings, but, well, very little. Okay. So, we're really pleased with the direction that we're going, and we're pleased with the results and these little calves. And so, it, all in all, when you get all down to it, it really, life isn't all that complicated, because to this dairy farmer, Mr. Buxman, it's really simple. More calves equal more money. And more money is a whole lot better than less money. So we're about at 10 minutes, so we'll stop and ask for your questions.
Thank you very much. Give them a round of applause. I've never learned so much about studs and straws and cows. I have some questions. Hopefully the audience will as well. We'll open it up to our judges first. By the way, our judges have all had the opportunity to review their business plan in more detail, obviously with the financials and competitive analysis as well. I'm sure you've got some questions. Gentlemen, who would like to go first?
Yeah, I think you got, is it working?
It is, switch it on.
Okay. It's turned on, but not working, so I turned it on, not working.
Here, take this one.
Okay, thanks, there we go. In your plan, you talked about, you've invested about $500,000 so far in the company. And in your plan, you didn't include a balance sheet. So, one of the things that any investor is going to look at is what's the current financial condition of the company? I mean, are you solvent? Without a balance sheet, it was hard to tell. So tell us maybe a little bit about your current financial condition.
We're pre-revenue. We have no revenue yet, and we won't until the breeding trials are finished. Yeah, and we've had a significant amount of interest. We've had all kinds of people tell us that, the valuation is kind of interesting here because how do you do it? Okay, and that gets to the balance sheet. It's a matter here of thinking about the intellectual property that we have. One of the problems with evaluating a pre-revenue company is that you don't have any revenue. You don't have any P&L statements to work on. So we have taken our best estimate at what will be future cash flows. We've discounted them, and we come up with a value in the neighborhood of the mid-30s, 30 millions, okay? And in about a 5 to 7 year time frame. Now that doesn't give you a balance sheet, but it does give you some feel for where we think it's going. And we found that the more the potential investor knows about agriculture, the more they know about the type of company, the higher the value has come. And well, we don't argue about that at all, so, all right.
Testing. Okay, Jim, thanks, and Lisa, that was great. I've got a question here. Can you tell us a little bit about your intellectual property position, both U.S. and international protection?
We have both issued patents and patents pending. We've taken a PCT approach on all of those. The issued patents we have issued in the United States, Canada, Mexico, Australia, all the large, Europe, all the large cattle producing areas of the world. We have the, we have the formulation of Gamete Guard patented. We have the biosimilar, and it's not the totally correct use of that term, but biosimilar formulations protected. And we also have the technology that we use to add the Gamete Guard to the extender in a concentrated manner protected. So our production chain is well protected at this point.
So I have a couple related more to the financial projections. Seem fairly aggressive considering what I believe is your articulated marketing strategy, C level to C level. I'd like to understand that a little bit better. And then the other question I have from an investor perspective, I see how you articulate you've got 2 million shares for sale at this strike price, but it's a little hard to understand what does that mean relative to the total cap table, and what are your what position would somebody have if they put that in?
Okay, first let me address the market size and the capture to get to those. We said here that we have this number of bull studs, 7 large, 50 plus small. Right from the get-go, we have worked to establish a strong relationship with the largest bull stud in the U.S., which is located in Columbus, Ohio, and with the largest bull stud in the world, which is headquartered out of Wisconsin. Now, pardon? Yeah, that's correct. We have also a relationship and worked with the bull stud out here out of Bennett, Colorado. So we share data with them. They do not have the ins and outs of our technology, but we share data with them. We've worked with them on experimental design, on setting up, on getting cattle, getting bulls. They furnish sperm whenever we want it, and they're very interested. And when they saw these results, they're very interested.
I might
Okay?
add, all of the sperm actually for these breeding trials and all of our former experiments were put up in a commercial manner at the bull studs. So we've worked hand in hand with the bull studs to make sure our technology was compatible with them, which will add to his answer there. So.
Now, the other thing is, each of those 2 big bull studs also own 2 other bull studs here in the U.S., okay? So that right away puts us real close with 4 of the 7 large bull studs, so we feel pretty comfortable. We also have a relationship with a very large bull stud in England, the largest one in England. And so we've known them for a number of years, and they're pretty interested in where we're going. So, okay, so the second part of your question,
Relative to the cap table, I see how you describe what you would be willing to offer, how many shares,
Yeah.
and at what price, but what does that mean in the grand scheme? Like what
Okay.
percentage for that investment?
we were looking at selling approximately 23% of the company at this stage of the game, thinking that in case we wanted to go faster or go with the other species development and raise money to go into those areas also, so that we were still wanting to retain the plus 51% ownership, okay? So the idea was that we believe that with these earnings, at some place in the 5 to 7 years, we can provide a liquidity event for an investor. And the liquidity event, we believe, will give them someplace around 40 to 50% annualized growth on their money. Okay?
A little bit of a problem. I guess it's still not working.
No.
Thanks, Brad. So you want to raise another $700,000 to follow up on Brad's question. Does that get you through the 2 clinical trials?
They're not clinical, but yes.
Or the trials, right? Yeah, not the trials.
Nothing clinical about a dairy.
Well, if you're a cow, it's clinical. Anyway, so what's a sales cycle? So you get the trials done, and and so you prove the concept, it works. What's the sales cycle to these bull studs?
So as we mentioned, we have a working relationship with them, and several of them have said we really want to integrate this as soon as you can get this statistically significant trial completed, both in heifers and in cows, which probably might not mean anything to you, but virgin cows versus cows that have had babies before. 2 levels in the dairy that we have to do these two breeding trials for. So we have already talked to, well, of the 7 of the large 7, it's probably 6 of the large 7, speaking to them about what are they needing. They need something like this. They need to help their customers. There's a big push right now to get fertility improvement. Some bull studs are using 3 ejaculates from 3 bulls to help improve fertility. Fertility is on their mind. It's the largest, pregnancy rates are the largest economic loss in dairy farms. So they're crying for a solution. Moreover, economic losses associated with artificial insemination have continued to increase because artificial insemination rates have decreased over the last many years. And so there's a dire need because people are actually starting to go back to bulls instead of using artificial insemination. So the bull studs are very aware and very ready. That's why we've been building relationships with both with the C-levels and the technical staff.
So is that 6 weeks, 6 months, a year, 2 years?
Oh, I'm sorry, less than that, 6 months, 6 weeks, something like that. We plan within that $700,000, we have commercial ramp-up money and commercial QC money so that when we hit the end of that breeding trial, we can push it out to market right away.
Unless you have another question, we're going to open it up to the audience.
Just one more. Fully funded capital requirements of the business to get to the 13.3 in EBITDA is what?
That would be about $1 million to a little more, because we figure some of the early will be self-funded through the cash generation early on to get into the full tilt. Okay, so the 700 will take us into commercial. Okay, then we expect that cash flow to help fund additional growth. So
So the 700,000 gets you commercially to your first deals, and then is there another 300,000, or is it another million on top of that?
No. We were looking for, remember I just talked about the big upside in swine and turkeys? We would like to get those things going pretty rapidly because they represent a huge amount of growth for the company. And so we would like to get that research on its way pretty quickly. So that's the other 300,000 that we would like to raise. But
So no plant, no materials, no staffing money, nothing to get it?
No, we have that in the 700.
That's in the 700?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, Jim and Lisa, thank you. Any questions from our audience? As we look around here, I have a question, and I'll get to you in just a second, so we can come back here. This is not working. Hello, this is working. So I have a question for you. Given the upside and all the potential market, why hasn't anyone come up with this before? And how well protected are your patents? You mentioned this is a natural product, correct? How well protected is a natural product in the marketplace now? So I guess two questions there.
As I mentioned, we do have patents on the formulation itself, and it's a blend of plant extracts as well as on biosimilar formulations. So we actually feel pretty secure in our patent position, and of course we always have an eye to continuing to support that patent position, and that's some of the $700,000 that we're trying to raise are to continue that protection, because of course you're always vulnerable if you're not paying attention.
Absolutely. All right, and yes, sir, your question.
You seem to focus highly on dairy animals. Are you trying to propagate the herds? Why is it important for dairy animals to be pregnant?
Thank you. Dairy cattle have to be pregnant every year to continue the milk production. So every year a dairy farmer has to breed all of his cattle in order to continue his milk production at the level that is economically feasible. Thank you.
Very good. Any other questions from our audience? Yes.
Greg, I'm glad you didn't ask the one where the person asked us, what's the difference between a cow and a bull?
I figured that out a while ago.
What profit margins do you guys have for each unit of Gamete guard that you'll be selling?
Okay, if I can be just a little bit vague on that, but we think we have a margin of about 50 cents a straw, 40 to 50, and we'll sell it for about 75 cents to the customer of the bull stud. Okay.
Very good. Time for one more question if there is from the audience. Seeing none, let's give Jim and Lisa another round of applause. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Best of luck to you. As Jim and Lisa are clearing off the stage, we'll let our judges head back to the judging room and they'll do their scoring here. When we come back for break, and we're going to take a very quick break, only about 5 or 6 minutes, we're going to have our first high school competition, and we'll have our first high school student come up and do their presentation. Just to let you know, the prices on the line for this group is a $1,500 total grand prize, $750 for first place, $500 for second, $250 for third place. So we're going to hear from our first student entrepreneur in just about 5 minutes. So take a quick break and come on back. Thank you.